in time.
Because is no excuse. Be smart. Be safe. Wait for the gate.
I'm Mark Simon.
I'm Bob Marks.
It's our favorite spectator sport.
The day of reckoning is fast approaching.
We're just going to shoot the bull.
Join Mark Simon and Bob Marks each week on The Game as they cover the Bay Area's top stories, bringing you in-depth analysis on politics, business, and sports. Don't sit on the sidelines. Get into the game. Sundays at 6:30 p.m. right here on Peninsula TV.
Emmy Award-winning Peninsula TV provides a large multifunctional TV studio and video production facility, state-of-the-art equipment, and affordable prices. Let our professional staff and crew produce your company or organization's next video, or create your own TV series and air it on one of the Bay Area's largest community cable channels. Contact Peninsula TV at pentv.tv or call 650-637-1936.
Welcome back to SMC TV. Thanks for joining us. I'm now joined by Sheriff Greg Munks and Lieutenant Randy Randleman of our Office of Emergency Services. And Sheriff, what is the Office of Emergency Services?
Well, Marshal, first of all, thank you for having us today. The Office of Emergency Services is a joint powers authority between the county and the cities. And all the cities in the county participate in it. It's led by the Sheriff's Office. It resides in the Sheriff's Office. And it's really intended to coordinate the preparation for, the response to, and the recovery from disasters, whether they be man-made or natural disasters. So we do a lot of training, we do a lot of coordination with the cities. During a disaster, we are responsible for the mutual aid system. So whether we're asking for resources outside the county, to state or federal resources, or whether we're moving resources around the county, that's our job, is to coordinate that and to make sure it's done efficiently. We also manage a number of assets that have been purchased either through Homeland Security money or Joint Powers Authority money to respond. So vehicles and shelter equipment and things like that, so that in the event of a major disaster, those resources can be efficiently and quickly moved to wherever they're needed within the county.
Well, I grew up here in San Mateo County, and I always think of earthquakes as being, kind of the disaster. And Randy, you're much more familiar with all the disasters we might really face. What kind of emergencies do you prepare for, and what kind of disasters should we be ready for?
Well, Marshall, you're right. Earthquake is probably the most common one we think of when a disaster occurs. And rightfully so. It's probably the most dangerous one we have to deal with in this county because it will affect the whole county at one time. But there are other disasters we have to worry about. We do have a large coastside which has a tsunami threat to it. I remember growing up here too and getting that knock on the door by the fire department to leave the house that there was a tsunami warning. Nowadays we've kind of modernized that. We have other ways of notifying people so you don't get the firemen there for that purpose. But besides that, we have a huge area that's subject to wildfires. As in Oakland, they found out was hard to get people in and out of. We have that same threat here we have to worry about. During the winter, we have landslide issues. We've dealt with that for the last few years. On top of all that, there's a biohazard possibility of spills, whether it be a terrorist one or by accident that we have to deal with. And not to mention just flooding in wintertime that we have, the creeks that overflow.
And there's even, I would assume, pandemic flu and other things we all need to be prepared for.
It's true, and we were preparing for those too. A lot of times what happens is people tend to not want to look at these things as being a threat, but they are a threat to all of us all the time.
And say I want to get prepared, I want to learn more. Where's the best way to get information?
Well, that's always the problem, is where do you get information on this? And we've discovered that the best way to do this is to give a standard source for it. So we've developed a website. It's smcready.org, and you can go there and get all the information you need to get prepared. On that, you can get forms to fill out if you need them that way, checklists. Besides that, if you wanted, there's a video on there. It's about a 30-minute video that you can watch. It'll tell you how to get yourself prepared, your family, and pretty much everybody in your neighborhood if you need to.
And what are the first steps to getting prepared?
Well, Marshall, one of the things that we used to tell people is that you should be prepared to be self-sufficient for 72 hours. And now we're telling people a week. just recognizing that depending on the severity of the incident, if it's a large-scale, widespread disaster like a major earthquake, that you may be on your own for a week. So that includes water and food, and it's important when you store water and food that you recognize that you got to keep that fresh, periodically. So you can't just put it in your kit and leave it there for 5 years. I mean, you have to, update that as needed. Extra medication, if you're on medication, want to make sure that you've got a week's supply of medication on hand. Secure a lot of items near your bed. If it happens in the middle of the night, make sure you've got a flashlight. Make sure you have some shoes nearby that you can get out if you have to be in an emergency. The whole gas shutoff thing is important. Have a wrench near your gas meter, but don't just shut it off at the first sign. I mean, you have to check to see if you smell gas, if you see the meter running, spinning around, you know that there's a gas leak. And then have a plan. That's probably the most important thing, is to have a plan, rehearse that plan, make sure all your family members know that plan, and make sure that plan includes your pets. We did a survey and found out that 55% of the people in the county said they wouldn't leave or evacuate unless they knew their pets were okay. So think about that ahead of time. Make arrangements for your pets as well, and make sure that all your family members know, understand, and practice that plan.
You just touched on something. My wife and I recently bought a home in South San Francisco, and I put some emergency supplies together, and I put a nice big flashlight next to the bed, but then I didn't think about the shoes. That's a good one to have right there nearby to get ready. And I think another important part is being involved in the community and learning and training for this. So if I want to know more information about how do I train and prepare my family, and I want to work with my community in disaster, especially if I'm going to be there for a week, where do I get that kind of information?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that. There's a lot of people now are actually getting involved in this, and before, a lot of people just tend to avoid it and hope that emergency services would provide that. And as the sheriff said, it's going to be a delay before emergency services can get there in a huge disaster. So what we've encouraged people to do is prepare themselves and prepare their neighborhood. And this is called the CERT program. It's a Community Emergency Response Team. This program is managed by the local fire departments within each community. And it's a 20-hour training course that teaches the people how to prepare themselves, but more so how to prepare to take care of their neighborhood. Teaches them light search and rescue techniques, minor first aid issues, and then kind of more importantly is how to work with the local government. So as things come back online, they're working in the same direction at that point. So we recommend that people get a hold of their local fire departments and want to get involved in this. And I think pretty much every city in the county has them going now. We've got almost 3,000 people trained in this county already at that level. So it's a growing program, and we really encourage people to get involved in that.
That sounds really, really good. Is there a cost in this?
Not for the person involved. It's pretty much paid for through grant funding at this point. They do get a few supplies out of it. There's another big manual to get through and learn what to do, but it's a good resource manual for them too.
And if there is an emergency, say an earthquake, we all know about that, but there is a disaster somewhere in the county, how am I going to know about that? And it might affect me.
Sure. Well, actually, Marshall, we have a couple of different ways that we get word out to the community. One is we have a text-based system called SMC Alert, and we highly recommend people to sign up for that. And the good thing about that, it's a free service. You can go to the website that Randy mentioned before, SMC Ready, to sign up. And what it does is you can sign up your PDA, your cell phone, your email, any device that accepts text messaging. And the good thing about that is that you don't have to live here. Let's say, I mean, you live here or work here. So let's say you live in San Mateo County, but you work in San Francisco, but you want to keep up to date on what's going on at home. Or let's say you live out of the county, but your kids go to school here. So you can identify what group or what area that you want to be notified on. So that's a free service, and it's something that you can sign up for your text-based messages. The other one is it's called a 10 system. It's a telephone emergency notification system, and we have that will work with landlines. So we can identify a particular geographic area. Let's say we want to put an alert out to the Highlands area of the county. We can draw a circle on a map around that, and we can put a pre-recorded message, and that message will go out to every single landline in that geographic area. Now that system actually costs money, but in the event of a major disaster, it's more important to get that information out. So we use that periodically. It calls all the phones in that particular geographic region. Now, more and more people don't have landlines, they use cell phones, so that's why SMC Alert is important. So then you have both of those. There's also, this is a radio that you can buy at Radio Shack. It's a NOAA, National, was it Oceanic
Yeah.
Administration or something. But this is a radio that you can buy. It's fairly inexpensive at Radio Shack. And in the event of an emergency, this is a great way to be kept up to speed on announcements that might occur. And then also, you know, if you have radio, there'll be public service announcements going out as well. But we highly, highly encourage people to sign up for SMC Alert. The 10 system you don't have to sign up for, that's automatic. We have access to the phone company's server for that. But SMC Alert, you do have to actually go online and sign up.
I might note on that too, that we don't just notify people for the huge disaster. Using the SMC Alert, we actually notify them of changes in weather during the storm season at this point. Also lately, it's become apparent that we have quite a few mountain lions in the community. We're notifying the public of when sighted and where it is so they can avoid that area. So there's other uses for it at that point. We've had water breaks in water main in certain jurisdictions where we've notified the people that your water is going to be out for the next 30, 40 minutes
Road
for this
closures.
reason. Exactly. Yeah. So it's not just for the emergencies, but that is truly what we wanted it for. We've just found it much more useful for other things too at this point.
And you're county-wide, the emergency services, so you do a lot of training as well, just among all the departments, law enforcement, all public safety, fire departments. Isn't that right?
That's correct,
right.
Yes. A lot of training, actually. And a lot of it, the training is initialized through us, either through funding sources or with our direction in that, or we participate with the other agencies that are doing the training. And it's not just here in the county. A lot of it's even regional throughout the Bay Area.
And, you know, Marshall, the way it works is that the county pays half the funding for OES, and the cities contribute the other half. So it's really a joint effort between the cities and the county. And the city's portion is broken up based on a formula that involves population and assessed valuation. So it's really, we really share the cost, and as a result of that, we have what's called area coordinators. So each part of the county, Randy has someone that works for him that's assigned to those cities in that area, and they are a resource that can provide training, that can go out, can help them get their plans going. We write a lot of plans. We have a plan for water in the event that the Hetch Hetchy gets broken and we can't get water from the water system. We have a water recovery plan. We have a terrorist plan. We have an airport plan for air crash. I mean, just about every calamity or disaster that could occur. Randy in his little library of plans there has a book that we can go to, and that will help us guide us through that emergency.
Well, we got about 30 seconds left. So I'm out there watching this. I want to take the first steps to being prepared. What's that first step I take?
I think the big deal for that is to get your family prepared. If you have a good plan and your family rehearses this plan and knows what to do, you're going to feel more confident when that emergency happens, because there's a good chance you're not going to be home, you're not going to be united instantly. And all of us are going to worry about our families before we even worry about our jobs. So I think if you have a plan, you can feel assured that everybody else is going to be safe in your family. Then you can go about your business to reuniting with your family or doing your job you're supposed to be doing.
Well, Randy Randleman, Sheriff Munks, thank you very much. And thank you for joining us on SMC TV.